Have you ever turned fabric scraps you thought were useless into a blouse that looks like it came straight from a chic European boutique? This blouse isn't just a piece of clothing, it's a subtle secret to standing out effortlessly. A smart design that, without trying too hard, can make you feel elegant, confident, and even a little princess-like. If you're curious why this style flatters the body so beautifully, and how even simple fabrics can look luxurious, stay with me until the end of this video. In today's fashion world, this style is usually known as a patchwork blouse or a color block floral top. You might also hear it called a contrast sleeve blouse because of the different fabric on the sleeves, or even an artistic casual blouse. These names all point to one thing: a creative modern design that turns simple fabric pieces into something stylish, eye-catching, and totally wearable. This blouse carries a message. You don't need expensive fabric to shine and stand out. All you need is to understand design and know how to use it the right way. In the rest of this video, I'll show you exactly how to unlock this pattern-making secret and turn even the simplest fabrics into a unique, eye-catching, and competitive piece. This model is amazing because it turns leftover fabric into pure gold. Light crepe, chiffon crepe, rayon, viscose, soft cotton, or even matte satin and lightweight silk all work beautifully for this design, especially if you want a more luxurious finish. Here's a golden tip. Using a patterned fabric in the center front and a solid fabric for the sleeves makes the body look more balanced, the top more polished, and the whole outfit feel more high-end. And the best part? You can also sew this blouse using just one solid color fabric and still get a clean, elegant, and stylish result. Make sure to mark these balance points on your pattern. They'll be a huge help when sewing. These little guides make it much easier to align everything correctly and help you avoid mistakes. The standard length for this blouse is around 65 to 70 centimeters, which means it sits nicely right over the hips. But the great thing about this design is its flexibility. You can easily make it shorter for a clean hip-length look, or extend it a bit and turn it into a tunic-style top. It's all about adjusting the length to match your style and your comfort. blouse features a clean, simple round neckline, making it perfect for a chic everyday look, or even a semi-formal style. To make it easier to wear, there's a small button at the back of the neckline. Simple, practical, and elegant. The 3/4 sleeves are finished with a double-layer cuff, which adds softness, femininity, and a slightly artistic feel to the design. Overall, this blouse fits beautifully into a casual chic style, has a modern handmade touch, and works perfectly for everyday outfits or even small, friendly gatherings. The first step in sewing is to apply fusible interfacing to the front facing of the neckline. Always remember, when cutting the interfacing, use the paper pattern as your guide. Never use the fabric itself as a template, because fabric stretches and your interfacing might not cut accurately. This little trick makes sure your facing stays perfect and keeps the neckline looking clean and professional. Now, take the top shoulder panels that we cut into 4 pieces. We sew them 2 by 2, starting from the side that connects to the neckline. Then, we make a top stitch just under the neckline to secure everything neatly in place. This little step really helps the blouse look polished and professional. For this section of the front bodice, sew with long stitches. This will create the extra space in the pattern as tiny, even gathers, giving a beautiful texture across the front yoke. If your blouse is made from a solid fabric, these gathers will really stand out and look stunning, adding elegance and depth to the design. After creating the gathers, we place the top collar panel between the facing and these gathers. Before doing that, make a small 1/2 centimeter notch at the seam of the facing. This little notch helps guide the panel perfectly into place so it sits exactly where it's supposed to. Let me share a little story with you. About 15 years ago, it wasn't very common to have multiple fabric designs for a single outfit. One of my clients brought me 2 fabrics, one solid, one patterned, and asked me to make 2 blouses. After sewing both, I ended up with leftover fabric from each because I always try to be efficient when cutting, whether it's my fabric or my client's. So, I decided to make a 3rd blouse from those scraps for the same client. When she tried it on, she was surprised and absolutely loved it. That one extra blouse even inspired her friends to get fabric and have me make 3 more just like it. This is how your creativity grows every day. Don't be afraid to experiment. Even if a piece doesn't turn out perfectly, it helps your creative ideas bloom. This is how you become a true professional designer. If you want, I can share more tutorials using leftover fabrics to spark even more ideas. Just drop me a comment below and let me know. You might discover your next favorite design. When you sew the sleeve cuff this way, the seam is completely hidden, giving you a clean, polished, and truly professional-looking sleeve. When attaching the sleeve to the blouse, after sewing the sleeve seam, make sure to align that seam with the notch you marked at the sleeve cap. This notch shows the center line of the sleeve. Next, stitch along the curve of the sleeve cap using a stitch length of 4 or 5. Then, gently add small gathers to the sleeve cap. These gathers come from the extra 3 centimeters we added while drafting the sleeve pattern. That extra ease is very important. It allows the arm to move comfortably and prevents any pulling or tightness in the sleeve. Once you gather those 3 centimeters evenly, the sleeve cap will match the armhole perfectly. Now, pay close attention when attaching the sleeves to the bodice. The deeper curve of the sleeve belongs to the front. It has more shaping and more curve. Here's a very important detail. The sleeve seam should not be sewn perfectly in line with the side seam of the bodice. Instead, rotate the sleeve seam about 1 centimeter toward the front of the bodice. If the sleeve seam stays straight and parallel to the bodice seam, the sleeve will pull up every time you raise your arm. By shifting the seam 1 centimeter forward, the center line of the sleeve automatically moves 1 centimeter toward the back of the bodice. In other words, the sleeve rotates slightly toward the back, allowing it to sit in its natural position and move comfortably once it's sewn in. Now, place the sleeve itself on the machine bed. The sewing machine will actually help you create even gathers, but it's your other hand that controls the sleeve so that the gathers don't exceed the 3 centimeters you planned. Pay close attention to how I guide the fabric with my fingers. Basically, you're feeling the stitching with your fingertips, gently controlling the gathers as you sew. This is what gives a clean, even, and perfectly managed sleeve cap. When sewing the sleeve, make sure not to stretch the curved sections that go under the arm. Let the fabric fall naturally in these areas. Don't try to gather or pull here. The extra 3 centimeters we added are meant only for the sleeve cap at the top, and that's where the gathers should be. For this blouse design, you don't want any visible gathers along the rest of the sleeve after it's sewn. It should look smooth, clean, and professional. Before you go, I've actually sewn another blouse using leftover fabrics, and I've linked it right here for you. Take a peek at the playlist. It might spark some fresh ideas and help you create something even more amazing than my version. Who knows? Your next design could be a true showstopper.